so good morning everyone. So thanks for joining us today, and we are team Armchair Kakis. So before we start, just wanted to ask you all, so how many of you have actually benefited from digital, be it like having like work from home Zoom meetings or like being able to pay with a single tap? So we see that actually a single group have actually been left behind, and because they actually aren't able to adopt like digital as readily as all of us, life has become slightly more challenging for them. So today we introduced the Kaki app, where we actually hope to empower seniors to take digital learning into their own hands. So the team behind this project is actually the 5 of us. So 3 of them is actually in Montreal, Canada now. So they're actually on exchange. So the 2 of us here are actually Ishan here and Karis as well. Yes, so actually catching wind of some of the challenges with digital learning that the seniors have, we actually walked the ground to better understand their challenges. So we found out that, yeah, so this is the vision that we have to actually make Kaki the Google for seniors. And we also found out that 90% of them actually mentioned that they find it very challenging to retain the information that they have already learned, and they thus have to keep turning to their children or grandchildren for help. And some of them also use rather harsh, strong words such as being a burden. And 80% of them also further mentioned that they actually make the effort to find all these resources, but then they are actually overwhelmed, ending up to give up. And so we see that seniors are actually not alone. And there are other challenges in the way as well, such as health challenges, mobility issues actually pose a challenge to learning, and they're also very scared of navigating the digital space, fearing that once they click the wrong button, everything will actually go wrong. And we see that seniors are actually not alone. A lot of the government initiatives, as well as like well-meaning social good organizations, have actually helped seniors actually keep pace with all this. But we see that the programs and the efforts are rather extensive, and seniors are not ready. So it's akin to asking them to drink from a fire hose. And so we say that all these efforts are rather all for naught. So what we, Kaki, hope to do here is actually to transform this through our SPICE approach, so making digital learning simple, personalized, inclusive, convenient, and engaging. And so there are some gaps that we see that we can help to bridge here. So firstly, there's a high reliance on manpower. Secondly, there's limited emphasis on post-learning support when it's actually the most needed. And thirdly, it's usually a one-size-fits-all approach which doesn't vibe the best with seniors.
Before I unveil it to you, we just want to give you a sneak peek where we actually tested our prototype out with actual seniors from the Loving Heart Multi-Service Center, and we've received some very encouraging comments like it feeling easier than Google, and even asking us when the app will be out on the App Store. So we want to unveil it to you right now, our vision in mind. So here are the 4 main key components of Kaki. We've got search, learn, saved, and rewards, which I'll jump into right now. For search, we really want to make searching as easy and intuitive as possible. Here we enable both text and voice search capabilities, and we found that voice search was something that was especially encouraged because a large number of our elderly are still illiterate, especially with limited dexterity problems as well. Moving on to learn. After they've searched what they want, they begin to learn. And the key thing that we want to point out here is that beyond just separating it out into very easy to navigate page, instead of just clicking on an application to find out more about a certain digital app, they can instead navigate to our skills tab. For example, if an elderly wants to search up, how do I connect with my friends? Perhaps they won't even know which applications to use, but they can simply navigate it through the skills tab, and then we would then navigate them to the right applications instead. Next, so this is an example of how we make learning very simple, guided, and visual for them as well. For example, if they want to make a call, they will click on the call tab, and as you can see here, we've broken it down into baby steps so that the elderly will be able to learn at their own pace without, an impatient child by the side rushing them along. So moving on to some extra bonus features, we've got save and share, because we know our elderly, they love to share things, and this would be good information that they're sharing and not misinformation. On the side here, we also want to allow note capturing and note storage, because another problem we realized was that a lot of the elderly often lose the papers on which they write their notes down on, and we want to avoid that. So lastly, on our saved and rewards feature, so for saved, we want to ensure that the courses that they've gone through are stored easily in one place. So we want to promote very easy revision of materials so that they don't forget it. And lastly, rewards, because our elderly, they need incentives, and I think this would be a good way to actually also increase stickiness on our app as well. So lastly, there are other bonus features that we have in the pipeline, such as personalization and gamification, which I'll be happy to go through later. And this is our tech stack that our Kaki app will be built on.
So if you're looking at how do we make this possible, sorry. Yeah, so we're actually looking to target like seniors above 65 who actually have access to like mobile phones as well. And based on our initial survey interest, actually 85% of them expressed interest. And so with all of your help, we actually hope to reach 250 seniors within our first year.
Yeah, we will let you guys to wrap up for because time's up.
Okay, sorry, just give us a few more seconds with all the technical difficulties. Just quickly bring you all through. Yeah, so we have a 1 year detailed plan out, so we hope to share with you furthermore later. And these are two key ways in which we are going to reach out to them, those who already trust as well as seniors directly. And here is the breakdown of the funding that we actually need. And in terms of long-term sustainability, we actually hope to not ever be able to charge seniors. So once we have a critical mass, we actually hope to gain revenue through affiliate marketing. And this is a long-term vision that we have, so we want to be here to stay. And please help us make Kaki the Google for seniors. So thank you for the time, and sorry for the technical difficulties.
Thank you very much. So it's on to the judges for any questions or comments that they have. Yes.
Thanks for your presentation. I think on the desirability index, it definitely ranks very high. I think you have identified a pain point that seniors have. One thing I'd like to inquire is that you had talked about the voice search, which is important because you did mention that I think working with text and font can be difficult for our seniors. But I would like to highlight that one thing I found in my interactions with seniors is that, and also because of the state of voice recognition software right now, which is that I think interestingly for Singaporeans, when we speak, sometimes our sentence structure, as well as the language we use, can pose some difficulties for voice software. I have spoken to an Israeli company who was trying to do something for HDB before, because HDB is one of the government agencies that have the most feedback. And one of the issues they have was that when many of our fellow Singaporeans ask questions, you will realize that in our sentence construction, we have all sorts of perhaps non-English words, or the sentence construction is not something that perhaps formal structures of language would recognize. So I guess my question is, given the complexity we have around voice, do you foresee difficulties having a search function that is not, I would imagine you don't have a physical person there manning the hotline, right? Because that is as good as a normal hotline that you have. And if it's not a person there manning the hotline and you're using a bot of some sort, right? How do you anticipate being able to really be able to understand all the questions that seniors are asking and be able to translate that into effective search results? Thank you. Over.
Okay, so I think we are hearing two main concerns, right? So firstly is that the voice search feature is really not very developed. So that is something that we do understand as well. So one thing that the Kaki app is trying to do is to increase accessibility as well, right? Which is why we actually try to offer like various ways to search. So one of which we still have the text search function. So that's actually what we hope would be the main bulk of searching as well. But we also do want to support seniors who, for instance, can't maybe see very clearly. So we do want to support that feature as well. So we do recognize that the second concern is onboarding is going to be tough, right? So how do they know that they cannot speak in dialect? So we do want to support 4 languages. How do they know like what they have to speak, right? So the app will definitely capture some of the keywords, but in terms of onboarding, that's why we actually hope to reach them through like social good organizations where we can actually partner with them to onboard seniors onto the app first. So hopefully once they have the confidence to use the app, they can then actually take this learning independently into their own hands at home. So I think that was the 2 concerns that we heard from you. Yeah.
I would agree. I think maybe the more technical sides about the software not being maybe developed enough in order to maybe piece out what the elderly is actually saying. I think that's a very, very valid concern. And I think that also goes into our research into the deeper research into the technology side of it, which we do have some members on our team that are adept. Unfortunately, they are in Canada, but we will be getting them on to do even deeper research into this matter. But yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Armchair Kakis. Very interesting presentation. 3 questions for me. The first, how do you determine this criteria of vulnerabilities? Second, there are varying degrees of digital literacy. How do you reflect that nuance in your solutioning? And third,
the first one was how we define vulnerability, right? Yeah, okay. So I think for our team, right, we realized that with this increased pace of digitalization, so certain senior groups are actually left out. And these are actually very inherently tied to like very pressing issues. So such as like social isolation, and social isolation is also tied to other key issues like well-being in general. So this is generally how we define vulnerability. And for the second question, which was correct. Okay, so I think we broadly categorize into 3 key categories. So there are seniors who are already very ready to learn. They're actually like up on TikTok even as well. So those are seniors that we do hope to reach as well. So those are actually what we call our advocates. So they'll be the ones that actually are using some of our more advanced features already. The second group of seniors are those who are actually trying to learn and they are quite open to it. So they're not very resistant. So those are the seniors that actually we want to focus on working with through the social good organizations, people that they trust. And we want to show them that how this app is useful for them, starting with very basic features like communication, connection with others. So that's the main group that we're hoping to reach. And for the third group, unfortunately, they won't be our focus for now. So these people are actually the ones who are highly resistant. And we believe that our app actually needs to gain traction and we want to gain the experience before we want to reach this third group of people.
Oh yeah, and just to add on, I think how we design the app in order to cater to these different levels. For example, in our Learn page, instead of being able to just search up, okay, I want to learn all I can about Facebook, we instead also allow the category of just connecting with friends, making bookings. So it's more broadly understand and not tied to a certain app. So if they want to just, okay, how do I talk to my family? They can click on that tab and then we will redirect them to the specific apps that would be useful to them instead. So I think that caters to the group that may not be so literate in that aspect. And I think the last question was...
that's about it for our question and answers part, because we have other teams that we did need to pitch. So thank you very much. So
Thank you.
thank you, Armchair Kakis, for your